All right. What's up, everybody? We've got ourselves a blast from the past, some North American magic. We've got the King of North America, who in the last year has been back in fine form, smashing faces Neeb. Up against, of course, the Canadian hero, she who is great. Some have called her the Queen of Blades. Others have just called her a frigging trailblazer when it comes to North American StarCraft. It's Scarlett. And she's going to be going for hatchery first. Now, for those who don't know, this is from the DreamHack Atlanta EU NA Regionals. It's a series which completely slipped me by. I never got to see what happened in it, but it was recommended to me by someone as a fun and action-packed series. And personally, I just love the backstory between the two. For those who don't know, they are good friends. They've been practice partners. Historically, though, Neeb does get the better of her quite often. And it's in very close series, but he often just barely inches it out versus Scarlett. She tries a lot of cheeses to throw him off. Sometimes she goes very, very macro-focused, and she kind of seesaws between the two. But Neeb, I think, is very good at hitting her with timing attacks at the right time, being greedy, and if he gets away with it, trying to finish her off. And he's got, of course, that spectacular late game. Now, look at this. This is why I don't like this spawning pool positioning. It's much better if you can build it, like, there or there to kind of block him moving around. But you can see he's being a real nuisance. She's doing a pretty good job of microing her drones to minimize the damage, but eventually she gives in and sends that drone to chase after the probe. Let's go after it. Cybercore there, second gas as well. Second pylon going up in the main base also, and that probe is going to start running around. All right, let's see what he can do. So drones are trying to mine. Probe is going to start steering on around. We've got a queen on the way there. Should be a queen moving out of this natural as well, but it is about 6 seconds delayed. So, man, it's always so disruptive having to take that third base. And it does look like Warp Gate starts up. So Neeb, unless he cancels that in a moment and builds a Stargate. No, looks like he's going to go for Twilight Council. You force that third base to be exposed. Adepts across the map can be massive. And a pylon block as well, but he didn't chrono, so I don't actually think the pylon block is super duper worth it. Then again, because he's just chronoing probes, he's going super eco style here with this opening. On the other hand, I mean, he cancels that. There's no way the adept gets here in time. I think he was just trying to get her to build 2 extra Zerglings instead of an extra drone, and he did. He succeeded in that. So even without any threat, he was never planning on sending the adept in to actually kind of cancel the pylon, have the adept shade arrive, but he just kind of goes, you know what? This is just to make you think that might be happening. You build 2 extra Zerglings that aren't a drone, and it is a very slight net gain for me. Cute little adjustments here. Third gateway into Twilight Council. This is the Patty Mac build. What the hell? Neeb going full North America right now. The really annoying thing about this build is you can hit with a bunch of non-glaive adepts, force a lot of Zerglings, recall home, and then you go with a second wave, but you actually have resonating glaives, and the Zerglings are pretty useless once you have mass adept with glaives. So that forces Scarlett to build a lot of lings, which she doesn't really want as the response to this build. That's a huge issue. That is a huge issue. Adept and Stalker there as well. Lots of drones coming up as well. Queen's coming out. Adepts moving forward as well as the probe moving over to that third base. Oh, what did I just press? Battle report. My bad. Neeb's going to take the third base on the left side. That's a very quick third. If he drops it now, and he is. Oh, wow. He's dropping it pre-glaives. And then he starts glaives. Oh, wow. It's a nasty build. She's forced to build more Zerglings. She's got a lot of Overlords building right now. I would say a few too many. I think she's made a bit of a mistake. Maybe didn't realize she'd already built so many. She's going to have 6 Queens and 9 Zerglings. So she's trying to defend this with Heavy Queen, which is a very efficient way of dealing with it, because of course those Queens are always useful units later for spreading creep. But I still feel like this is a bit awkward. Like, he could commit into that main base potentially. The Adepts are going to shade on out of there. Glaives is on the way behind it, adding a lot of probes. Ooh. And one of the best transitions off this is double Stargate Phoenix. I wonder if Neeb's going to go that way, or will he stay on the ground style? There's a lot of questions for Scarlett, who doesn't have a lair. She can't make an Overseer, so she doesn't have a lot of scouting. She really has to kind of guess what's coming next. And right now that means 4 more drones up to 51, and then roaches. But uh-oh, Resonating Glaives is coming in. We're going to have 8, 10, 11 Adepts. Oh, man, this feels so nasty. I don't think she's ready. She's got 5 queens and 12 zerglings. If those 8 roaches come out, maybe she can stitch together a defense, but I think he's got a good chance of getting in the worker line and causing some damage. Forge going down behind it tells us he's not going to Stargate. He's going to stay ground focused. He's warping in sentries as well. Drones on the 3rd. Do you have to quickly walk out of there? Lings get us around on an adept. Queen kills 1, so 2 adepts have gone down. She's pulling the drones pretty nicely, but she's lost 2 workers already. The adept's trying to shade out. Queens, Lings, Roach is well positioned though. I think she's actually handling it all right. The adepts have all shaded out. She's going back to mine, but that 3rd mineral line is going to take some damage. She's back to full-on drone production, but of course this is allowing Neeb to take an economic advantage. She's going to try and pull those drones down, and in the end, 9 workers falling. She's down to 39 workers versus 53. And there's Stalker Sentry. There's a shield battery. This is not a situation where it's easy to counterattack. On the other hand, could she? She has no gas. She has no gas. I was going to say if she just morphs Ravages and goes, I think she can kill him, but she has no gas. She can't morph Ravages. I was like, yeah, make 4 Ravages, Mass Ling, you can kill him. But with no Ravages, slow Roaches moving across the map always feels very dicey. She sees Blink and +1 upgrading, so she knows it's going to be a standard ground game afterwards. Neeb has the economic advantage, and her lair is incredibly delayed. It feels like Zerg doesn't have a lot of play in this scenario, and I gotta say, this build order Neeb's done, I find to be one of the most difficult builds to handle. I have a very low win percentage versus it. Even when I know my opponent's gonna do it and is nowhere near the level of Neeb, when I'm on the Zerg side of this, like Scarlett is, I am lucky to not just get my face ripped off and feel so behind by the 10-minute mark. Like, it just feels like I'm on the defense from start to finish. There's the Adept, then there's the 5 Adepts, then there's the 11 Adepts, and then they've got Stalkers coming across the map, and a 4th base, and I'm down on economy all game. And it's just so hard to balance the early stages. The waves of aggression are so well managed to keep the Zerg producing army instead of drones, and then still not taking efficient fights despite that. I like the fake Warp Prism that flew over here to scare Scarlett. She's moved spores, roaches over there, then finally realizes it's not even real. The real Warp Prism has only just started. Sentry Stalkers +1, Immortal coming out as well. We've got the Hallucinated Phoenix flying around, 4th base over there. How many roaches we got? 11 roaches, 5 zergling, 6 more roaches on the way. It's coming forward for a pressure. Scarlett needs to find a way out of this. She's picked her path, guys. She's picked her poison. Infestation Pet Hydroden goes down, and you know what that means. Scarlett is battening down the hatches. She's locking the doors. She's dragging the furniture across the room and leaning it against the door. She's saying, you will not break in here, Protoss. I will just survive, and I will get Lurkers and Vipers, and I will smash you at Hive Tech. But for now, I just need to defend my 4 bases and try to tech up to the next stage. But him in her face, you can see he's forcing her to build a lot of Lings, making more Ravages now as well. I like the flanking force. Scarlett's got to be careful, though. He's got Blink. He does have Blink. Oh, I mean, she gets a few Stalkers, but yeah. She's getting a good fight on those first Stalkers, but as the rest of the army comes in, it gets a bit dicey. Oh, triple bile! Oh, she gets the Warp Prism, but the roaches on the left got smashed to pieces, and even if she gets the Immortal, which she does, the Stalkers are going to blink forward and punish her. Neeb decisively picking the fights. The Lings come in, though. The Lings rallying in might be enough. Oh, man, she's floating a little bit of money. If she had been just a little bit better at spending that, maybe a handful more Lings would have turned this. But she just doesn't quite have the numbers. He maintains position, and he's got a 4th base up, and that is a big issue. The workers can transfer from there. Roaches, Ravages, Lings, and Queens coming on out as well. The Lurker's Den is there. We've got more Stalkers coming forward. And yeah, we've got a lot of Stalkers moving up the Adept as well. How many Stalkers? There's 25. Her Hive and Lurker Den has started, but no real way to utilize this 4th base. She's trying to bile the Observer, but I think she just didn't realize it was over there. And he unsieges that and moves around. This feels like this is that moment where like his army sucks. So does Neeb continue to commit to Stalkers and just bash into her? He's making sentries. He's going to make Adepts as well, just to harass with. No Disruptors, though. And that is interesting. Just Immortals, just Stalkers. And that means he's still pretty committed to the mid-game. Lurker Tech will be a huge turning force in this game. I think he should stay in her territory, threatening her. Oh, and she shuts it down? She shuts down those Adepts. She's got Ling Vision out. These units they're not good versus Lurkers. Stalker Sentry kind of sucks once Lurker Viper's out. She's got 2 Vipers on the way. She's got Seismic Spines. Remember, all she has to do is survive the mid-game Hurricane. That early worker advantage he had isn't worth that much. He threw away all of his sentries and Immortals. He had to rebuild them with his gas. He's now going double Robo Bay. And don't get me wrong, he's got a good economy, but I feel like it gets more towards a dance now of Lurker, Viper, Hydra up against the Stalker Disruptor. Wisely, Neeb adds a Templar Archives. He knows about the Hive. This is really good scouting for him. So he knows, okay, she's going to have Vipers. I need High Templar to feedback those. I also need Disruptors to deal with the Lurkers while protecting from the feedback. That's an army that I would fumble with all the time. But Neeb is famous for his late game technicality. He was one of the players who used to do really well in maxed out battles when no one else could contest him years ago. Let's see if Scarlett's practiced it enough to get up there. Oh, she loses a bunch of static before, just as it starts. Lurkers are down, though. Oh, okay, Abducts. Abducts on the... Oh, no, watch out for the... Oh, one Viper. Both Vipers barely survive. She grabs an Immortal, pulls back. Good job by Scarlett. And that stops him from breaking in there. He's got to back off. He's taking a 5th base. Psystorms on the way as well as charge. He might have to start doing some more multi-prong. Right now, rather than running... Like, this blob can keep scaring Scarlett, but he's got to start moving his army around with more Zealot run-bys and backstabs and all that sort of stuff. And I think that's going to be huge. She's building 14 drones. I told you Scarlett was playing for the late game, guys. 14 drones. She wants to force this to be a slow one. And I think this first game might stall out into a very long game where we get to see who is actually better in the super late game. And that's really important because if you kind of show that you can outclass your opponent in late game, in the first game of a best of 5, they're going to be demotivated. They're going to feel more pressure to kill you. So I really think that this is a situation where whoever can best that is going to be good. But still on ground armies for now. Zealots on the bottom right should be able to get that hatchery. More spine crawlers getting cancelled. No Lurkers here right now. They're all down to the right. Where's Adaptive Talons right now? Lurkers are moving forward. We've got Roaches, Ravagers, Lings trying to come forward. Drones trying to pull back. More Lurkers morphing. Vipers are trying to do Blinding Clouds as well. Abducts coming in on the Immortals. High Templar are going to move forward with Psystorm. Ooh! Feedbacks on the Vipers as well. Roach Hydra trying to pick off some of those units. Zealots in the bottom right doing some fantastic damage. Stalkers, Archons, High Templar feedback all set up. The base goes down, some drones do, but Scarlett's still got a healthy economy, and I like that she's shuffling the Lurkers forward through at times. Once she gets the Adaptive Talons up, that's when she's going to be in a much better spot. But the scary thing is a 5-base Protoss. For me, I have no faith in my late game, which is why if I was in Scarlett's shoes, I'd feel like I'm already dead. He's going to start carriers in the near future, I would imagine. Yep, Stargate, Fleet Beacon transition. And Lurkers suck against that, so you need to swap into Broodlords, Corruptors, Infestors, Vipers, all of the fancy spellcaster interactions that are hard to manage. Oh, caught out of position, and he dives on her, gets 3 Lurkers. She abducts an Archon. I don't know if that was... I think a Blinding Cloud would have been better. Oh, big mistakes here for Scarlett. She's taking massive damage, getting caught out of position there. Oh, no. She lost so many Lurkers. She's now splitting up her unit. Zealot's forcing her back. She needs to get some damage done, but he's got Mass Cannon Battery behind it, and it seems like Neeb is out-positioning her before they even get to the end game. It's late game, but it is not end game. There's no Skytoss. There's no Broodlords or Infestors yet. And this seems to be the phase of the game where Scarlett, with that immobile style, is getting out-positioned and out-maneuvered. Neeb coming in from every single which way and absolutely punching through the Zerg economy. This 5th base seems like a dream right now. I think she's given up on that for the moment. Spires on the way, +3 range. Adrenal Gland Zealots coming in for Neeb. And he's just going to get worn down by the Spine Crawlers. Would love to see a transfuse from Scarlett there. Let's see. Oh, she catches the army! She does get 1 High Templar, a few more, 2, 3 High Templar might be going down there, but the Hydras do start falling. If those Lurkers burrowed a little bit further forwards, it might have worked. Roach is getting stormed back on that side as well. Units lost tab is pretty even, despite a lot of Zerg losses. Remember, the Protoss units are very expensive as +1 air weapons and 3 carriers start up. 14 Zealots warping in. Oh my god. Ah, damn, that is a lot of Zealots. It's not quite a Rainer of Zealots. A Rainer of Zealots is when you warp in 22 at a time, but it's still a lot. Lurkers sieging the top left. Looks like the Roach Ravager Queen will defend the wall of transfuse there. Scarlett does keep quite a few of these Queens alive. As the Zealots come into the natural, the Spores and the Spine going to try and defend that one as well. The Heavy Energy Queen gets a transfuse off just before she goes down. In the top left, Lings get Psystorm down. Trying to flank this position is Neeb, but he doesn't have a lot of anti-lurker units there. Unfortunately, though, Scarlett has no anti-air. So the carriers are going to be able to take out all of those lurkers. She killed a cannon or 2. She didn't get in range of the economy. If she quickly blitzed into these bases, she could do some damage right now, but she's on a timer. The carriers are there, and that will push her back. She takes out some pylons, some cannons. Zealot, Archon warping in. The carriers say, get out of here, and she quickly turns tail and runs, realizing, okay, we've entered that stage of the game the lurkers' time is up. And much like milk sitting out of the fridge, these lurkers know that they have very limited use. And the longer it goes, that use is going to be more and more chuck it in the trash. You know, later in the game. Right now, they're still good. They need to burrow Scarlett. Oh, a little slow on the burrow. Interceptors are not in great enough numbers to really overwhelm the Hydras just yet, but if the Storms land on the Hydras while the Interceptors clear everything else, that's where you can win. Scarlett's going to split push. She still has a lot of ground units that can't deal with air, but if she can smash through the economy of Neeb, she can open some areas up and do something. Biling missing the cannons with those biles. Unfortunate placement there for Scarlett. I think they both missed. Roaches, Ravagers, Lurkers moving in. The army coming in from behind. Watch out, Scarlett. You're going to get cornered. But she takes advantage. Shoves the left side at the same time. This could be a very good move for her. The problem is she's on 65 drones, so she can't rematch. She can't throw this army away. She needs to get good trades, and a lot of Archons going down. A lot of statics. Some probes are falling. The carriers will eventually clean this up, but Neeb actually doesn't have detection here. Hydras and Lurkers in the left side. Oh, okay. Good recall. Psystorm can defend from that army for at least a little bit. Carriers will eventually defend this. And, oh, not going to be able to kill the Nexus. 15 probes go down. Oh, no! Oh, no! She had a whole Hydra army here. The Hydra army's gone. That is the professional observing skills of Pig. I assumed she would run away, guys. Scarlett did not. She didn't realize how many High Templars. She tried to run forward and surprise him, not looking, I think. And he just stormed about 15 Hydras down. That was, ugh. Oh, she's way down in supply, and remember, he had more money in the bank. He's still got those carriers, which can easily resupply the Interceptors very efficiently. She's bringing in her Corruptors, but they're a bit disorganized. She's going to lose at least 1 or 2 Corruptors. She does get a carrier. The thing is, that's just one, and now he's going to push. She needs time to gather energy. Looks like she maybe did a PP to finish off the Nexus. Nice move by Scarlett there, giving a bit of the caustic spray on that, but this army, 10 Archons, and that is 8 High Templar with Storm, 5 carriers, Immortal Stalkers, everything else. What in the hell is going on? Zealots and DTs in the bottom right. We've got Archon, Carrier, High Templar there as well. Those Lurkers are going to take a lot of damage. And Carriers trying to drop Storms on the Changelings to clear them out. I don't know if Scarlett has much play here because she's got 7 Lurkers to deal with a giant ground army. If Neeb can just focus down 2 or 3 of those Lurkers, land the Storms on the Corruptors, land some Archonites on the Corruptors, the Carriers will survive. She doesn't have all the pieces. She's way down on army supply. And this all, I think, comes back to that big Lurker mistake she made over here, where she lost the base, lost about 10 Lurkers, and didn't really do much counter damage. So she looked like she was going to stabilize and force a late game, but Neeb just calmly and methodically repositions his army, dictates what happens from start to finish. And it definitely feels like Scarlett does sometimes get in that either very defensive, turtley mindset, or very all-in mindset against Neeb. I don't know if there's somewhere in the middle. I don't know how you surprise Neeb. I feel like his scouting and his ability to pressure you and control and put you where he wants you is so good. It's just surprise him, Scarlett. Just surprise him. Yeah, he's got layers of adepts, stalkers, sentries, immortals into these Archon carry pushes. It feels like you're always on the defensive as Scarlett, and I don't know where the window to counterattack him lies. When do you surprise him with a dark style crazy mass Roach Ravager Ling all in, or a big surprise wave of Mutas? These feel like moves that Neeb may not actually be invincible against, but he has an aura of invincibility against them, and that's often good enough in StarCraft. If your opponent's afraid to try a move, that'll get the job done. And look at this. He's got her pinned. She can't move over there. He's just sending individual Storms forward. Archon Carrier going to clear this out. Feedback does hit the Viper, but it gets the Abduct off just beforehand. Nice carrier snipe for Scarlett, but one carrier snipe ain't going to cut it, and Neeb dictates it from start to finish with the Paddy Mac opening. Absolutely brutal start to the series. Well done. All right, guys. In the top right side, we've got Neeb representing Onside Gaming. Scarlett representing Shopify Rebellion in the bottom left. And Neeb is going to disrupt her. He does not want to let her get a clean opening. I wonder if it's worth going 15 hatch as Scarlett. If he's deciding to block you a lot, is it worth just only building 1 drone there and then coming on down? Let's see. Would she get a 15 hatch down? She needs to hit 250 minerals before the probe gets over that line. Okay, she wouldn't. 15 hatch would have been a terrible idea, guys, because she would have cut a drone and still been blocked. So good little experiment there. Something I feel like if they commit to the block, but they only arrive at the last second and you can get a 15 hatch down, it's really worth doing that. Because it just kind of stops them from interrupting your build, and you just delay 1 drone by 20 seconds. It's not a big deal. But that, of course, was a bit of an issue there. We'll see how it goes. Probe's going to dance around the back. We'll see how that goes. Gateway's up. We've got the gas on the way. All right, Probe's dancing around. All right. Not getting too much harassment. She's basically just copying the loss and sending a drone to chase it this time. I personally prefer to do it that way. Otherwise, I feel they can really interrupt your flow early on. Be very irritating. So I do like to rotate drones off to get a hit on it, put them back on mining, pull a different drone to intercept it. That's something I don't see pros do very much. Like I would have pulled one of these drones to pull around the right, intercept it. He goes back to the left, put it back on mining, and then pull a drone from the middle. But I also feel that spawning pool, even though it interrupts the probe from dancing around, can sometimes bite you in the butt a little bit as well. Random tangent. I see people talking about Adeptus this and Adeptus that. In the chat, do you guys see that Henry Cavill is apparently doing a Warhammer show that they've just like mentioned the very first stages of planning and beginning? Let me know if you think that's going to be utter trash or awesome. I have a feeling they will basically be like, hey, we're learning from what The Witcher did. You know, we're just going to follow the source material, and that basically means it's got to be R-rated and have crazy gore and just vicious violence, like anime cartoon levels of ridiculous violence. Like, because that's what Warhammer is. Warhammer, it's literally, in the far, far future, there is only war. Wasn't that the original tagline of Warhammer? If they do that, I will be so impressed. I really hope they don't water it down and they just make it grossly violent and have sick, crazy chaos magic and, you know, really, really zealous priests and stuff trying to like burn out the chaos and you know, infection and all that sort of stuff. I think it'd be really cool. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, Henry Cavill's a massive nerd, so big fan. Bit of a tangent there. But Stargate's on the way. So this time it's not going to be the waves of Adepts. I think Scarlett's a bit more practiced versus the Oracles. And I always feel like there's a fascinating dance in this early game, which a lot of players close their eyes to and say, PvZ just, it's so imba for Protoss. So, or you know, oh, it's so imba for Zerg. They just block the Oracles with the Queens, get way ahead. And then there's like Zerg's like, they just kill 10 drones every game with their Adept Oracle. It's so ridiculous. It's the details of how this is executed that's important. Keep in mind, step one, Neeb is focused on chronoing probes. He's been beating her in work account because he's focused on chronoing probes. He's not double chronoing Adepts. He's double chronoing Oracles. So he wants to get 2 Oracles across pretty quickly. He's also hid that fact. So he's going delayed Oracles, no real early pressure, and he wants her to build a Roach Warren, not have many Queens, not have many Spores, because she thinks this is a Glaive Adept build. Why else would you have a Stalker? Why else would you be going Warp Gate straight away? Why else were your Adepts here? And he's like, yeah, doing the same build as last game. Remember, I did a fast third. I came out with Adepts to pressure you. And she starts a Roach Warren, which she has no need of for about another minute in this game. And if he can sneak the Oracles across, she's screwed. That could be, this is such a tricky opening. Look at the Adepts denying scouting. Does Scarlett, she's got to feel something's up. She starts Spores, but I actually think that's just because she thinks it might be Dark Templar, but at least she does start Spores. She sees it. Oracle's coming in. Those Queens need to scramble to that natural right now. She's pretty quick on the pull, but oh, there are still drones in the open. Oh no, that Spore's not ready just yet. Oracles are having a party here. An extra Queen does pop out just in time. 5 drones go down. That could be a lot worse. Remember, he did... Oh, he gets a 6th. Can he get a 7th? Oh my god. Oh, no, no, no. That's too much damage. Ah, the sneaky opening pays off. Dude, Neeb really playing this series with perfection. The way the build order in Game 1 played into this hidden Oracle opening is just a masterclass of PvZ. When Neeb is switched on and studying the details, his planning is second to none. Absolutely incredible play for him. The Sentry does survive. Good force field. She only gets 2 probes and an Adept there. And that is not the units lost tab you want to see as the Zerg player. An Adept and 2 probes for 13 Zergans, 11 drones. She has done a good job of recovering drone-wise. She's back up to close to even, but the Oracles aren't done. And Neeb's taking advantage of this to play a very greedy follow-up. Double Forge before even going for the Twilight Council. That's a disgusting build. All right, here we go. Oracle's coming in towards the main base. Queen's trying to do what they can. We've got more gateways coming down for Mr. Neeb. 4th base starts up there. 6 minutes. 10 drones on the way. Hydroden Infestation Pit starting in the natural. And we've got a lot of gateways coming in. 2 gateways there, 8 gateways coming up. It's interesting. This is just going to be, I'm turtling into Blinkstalker Storm. This is what I call the Virgin EU style. Obviously a joke. Whenever anyone basically plays a really sick, perfect macro game, the idea is that it's so much harder than playing an all-in or just a clean timing attack to pull off, that you basically have to just grind so many games to get good at it. You know, Cyril, obviously the guy who really showed just how far you could take that style of play. Scarlett scouts it though. At least she knows what she's up against. So she could try to bust this with Ravager Bane, but the wall-offs are going to be hard to get through. I feel like this is a really tough situation. Immediate Hive! Big brain. Okay, so there's 2 ways you deal with it. You go all in with Ravager Bane, you just try to kill them before they get too much Storm and too out of control, or you go immediately to Lurkers. She's going immediately to Lurkers. That's great, because if you're stuck on Stalkers and Psystorm, it doesn't really counter this sort of style. It really does not. Now, he's already moving out with a handful of Stalkers. 2 Archons. So smart, because he knows most Zergs want to deal with this style with mass Zergling initially, and Archons crush Zerglings. Wow. Okay, Neeb's got some very, very cool styles here, and this is just to scare her into not droning too hard. He sees the Hive. Very important scouting. Both players have such respect for each other. You can see how they're just kind of slowly and methodically scouting each other and trying to figure out what's going on. Robo now finishing. Do we see a second Robo transition? Psystorm is coming out for now. Charge, 2/2 upgrades. You can get a lot more mobile with Charge. Zealots do run-bys, whereas Stalkers are more of a front-on unit. And since they suck against Lurkers in a head-to-head, they do not scale well. And that's why we don't really want to see any more Stalkers if you're a Neeb fan. You just want to swap into Zealots, Storm, transition into maybe Immortals or even Disruptors in the follow-up as well. Oracles are still alive. 8 kills and 4 kills. And they go in and grab another couple of kills there. 13 kills on total between the two. Still getting very valuable information as well. Seeing that Scarlett's up at over 80 workers now. She's going to make a Dropper Lord. Now that's interesting. Are we going to see a Lurker drop, Scarlett? Yeah, she's going to go Lurker drop. Unfortunately, Revelation is a thing, but doesn't see the Lurker morph at least, or the Dropper Lord, which is good. Prism coming in the right side for Neeb. Neeb feels like he's just playing his game, and Scarlett, she better be confident in the late game. If she's happy to go to this stage, just like I said, in game 1, she didn't get to the end game, right? She kind of got out-positioned, caught off guard a little bit in the late mid-game, early late game, whatever you want to call it. Around that 10-minute mark, 12-minute mark, she was getting ran circles around her, so she didn't get to stabilize on 5 base. This could be a very different story if she chooses to just turtle and defend. She's building 7 more drones and spines and spores everywhere. Okay. Scarlett wants to play a long game, everybody. Strap yourselves in, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to see who has the better late game. I've seen Scarlett grind this so much in the last year, so I know she's way better at it than she used to be, but not clicking the Nexus, I think a slight mistake here. She does get a couple of Stalkers, a Pylon, damages the Nexus, but not the biggest damage there. Warp Prism is there. Adaptive Talons coming in behind it. I feel like Neeb right now is playing the game that every Protoss player wishes they could, just like, I wall off, me make better army than you, me wait for Zerg to throw army away at me. Scarlett, she's not going for it. She's not going to throw the army away. I still think right now she has a window. If she committed to a Lurker timing, he's got 6 High Templar, some Zealot Archon, but no Immortals and no Disruptors. I don't think he could handle a mass Lurker push. I really think Scarlett's giving him way too much respect, and this may be a case of her overestimating his abilities. Now that Lurker, ooh, attacking there. The Lurker drop doing big damage there from the high ground. The Revelation comes in. The Zealots can deal with those the moment he decides to. He's pushing on the front at the same time. Oh, Scarlett needs to get back there. Spine's coming in. She cancels the base in the bottom with Lings. The Lurkers are going to get cleaned up. Meanwhile, Zealot's in all of her bases. He is just absolutely throwing the kitchen sink at Scarlett. Her drones evac from the 4th base, but her 5th base is being ransacked. She's getting overwhelmed. Neeb just exploding in every direction at once. She's trying to remax on Roaches here. It looks like the Queen's cleaned up the Warp Prism. Lurkers defend the bottom right, but her 4th is in trouble. If she can defend the 4th base, return to mining, I think this is still a win for Scarlett. Ling's in the mineral line, but with cannons and batteries, looks like they won't get much done. The Stalkers are going to block them as well. Neeb's doing very well, but the Lurkers finally clean up the Zealots. There's an army on the front, though, looking for an opening. Hopefully Scarlett hasn't left it. If he runs up that ramp, he could find a weak point right now, but he doesn't know what's up there. He's still a little bit scared. Units lost tab shows that this is in the favor of Neeb, but not massively so. More importantly, he forced her to build a lot of Roaches, which are kind of bad units for this stage of the game. 2/2 upgrades for Protoss only, +1 on the ranged units of Scarlett. Those upgrades are going to come in to bite her in the butt a little bit as this game goes on. And this Lurker run by on its own, I don't know. If the Zealots get a flank, they could take it out. No support on those Lurkers. It reeks of desperation. I don't know if it's the right angle, but she gets a good first volley off. If she denies the base and then runs away, if she picks up and runs away right now, I'm with it. Oh, great move. Scarlett's got the instincts. I keep thinking she's going to overstep. I keep doubting. I got to remember to have faith in the Canadian hero. She loses one Lurker on the retreat, but the Oracles are out of energy. Neeb finally trying to get this 5th base, but this 5th base has been the thing she's now cancelled 3 times. And yes, he's got walls here, he's got walls here, but he does not have an established wall cannon battery set up on the bottom. And that's what's hurting him right now. On the other hand, he has carriers out. She hasn't started the Spire transition, and she's only now making Hydra upgrades. She has nothing that shoots up on this map. Oh no, she has nothing that shoots up, but great Lurker flank on the army. She's going to get rid of the High Templar. Zealot's flanking from the bottom right side. I don't know what's going on right now. I think he's going to clear up all the Lurkers on the right side. She has nothing that shoots up, even though she cleared this army on the left. This is going to come at a big cost for Scarlett. Now, the Hydras are coming out. There's only 3 carriers, but she needs to just get out of there, abandon this base, cancel it, run away, and get these Hydras together. Those carriers came in way earlier than she expected. She forgot that, yes, Protoss can get to carriers on 4 base. Denying the 5th feels good, but all you're doing is stopping them from expanding their economy. You're not really limiting it all that much. They've still got great income for the first 15 minutes on 4 bases. So she's building advantages by denying that for later in the game, but right now the carriers are building a massive advantage for Neeb as he pushes in and finds big damage. Storms on the Hydras could turn this fight massively in his favor. He's only got +1 air weapons, but there's only +1 on the Hydras. They have groove spines, and muscular augments has started up. So they've got the +1 range. They don't have the move speed just yet. Scarlett's got a good work account on 5 base, but now Neeb also has a 5th up, +2 air weapons on the way. Zealot's continuing to come in. That's going to force her to send some Hydras over. Remember, they're not fast Hydras just yet. This is, of course, all pre-balanced patch, as you can tell. So no changes in this patch at all. These Hydras waddly, very slow to get the upgrades. Not the best unit versus splash damage either. Oh no, that's a big scary push. Storms on the Workers alone would be devastating. She doesn't have any Lurkers burrowed yet. She needs the Lurkers up on the front line. But the Spores do stave off the Interceptors, buy her a bit of time. On the other hand, there's 6 carriers out. 3 more are about to arrive. Okay, that's a lot of carriers, and look at that. He fakes the rotation, gets her to unburrow, pushes in, snipes some Spores down. The Lurkers run a bit too far forward. She doesn't have an answer for these High Templar. Neeb is absolutely masterclassing this PvZ. He is dictating start to finish on how to play an excellent PvZ. I have seen Scarlett run circles around a few really high-level Protoss players recently, but it feels like, yet again, Neeb, the way he's shifting his build orders. Remember, once again, another game where he killed 10 workers early on, got a big economy lead. He's just having way too good of an opening. Scarlett needs to tighten things up at the start of the game. All right, let's go into game 3. It's Data C, and this man needs to get stopped. And the answer to that all comes down to the openings. Scarlett in the top right, she needs to get on top of his openings and deal with it. Now, he's been not double chronoing Adepts across, just keeping them at home. It is pretty hard to all in and catch a player with, like, say, a Ling Flood if they're not sending their first Adept across the map. So I don't think, like, a Ling Flood drone drill is necessarily where it's at, though obviously, like, a dirty all-in could definitely win a game. I think it just comes down to her getting a better read on what build he's doing. Now, I haven't seen him once open up Stalker first, and he very rarely does it. So I'm going to be a little critical of Scarlett's scouting. So there's actually a technique for scouting I have in this matchup, which I really favor. Now, it doesn't always work, especially if your opponent, say, hides the pylon, second pylon back here. But what I really think Scarlett could do in this game is she could get the Overlord, leave it here to see if it's an Adept or a Stalker, and then she can fly along this ledge as 2 Zerglings try to poke the natural. If the unit's in the wall and she's blocked, the Overlord can just fly through the main and see what the tech is. And if it's not blocked, say a Stalker comes out first and starts chasing the Overlord, your Overlord just flies to the low ground. If the Stalker's up here, if the Stalker goes to the low ground, it flies to the high ground. It's very hard for that Overlord to get killed before it gets away. And it almost always opens the door up so the Zerglings can get in for the scout. Now, I think getting that scout's very important. I also think it's not too hard a lot of the games if your Overlord pokes straight into the main, because a lot of players build the pylon right there. So she can actually, it's pretty advanced scouting, but if she just poked straight north, she could go up, oh, there's a pylon, and she knows exactly where to look later to see the tech. I think mixing up your scouting at the very beginning is big, because remember, he did a Glaive Adept opening, but it was after 3 gates, and then he followed it up with a fake kind of Twilight opening where he actually went Stargate. Now this time, no Warp Gate research, so it's just a really standard... Oh, okay, I'll chrono an Adept across the map, so he will actually poke with an Adept. Actually, he's going to chrono a second Adept. Oh, we're going old school, baby. Neeb, I think, is going to hit a Zealot Archon timing. Because earlier in this tournament, I think it was a group stage match versus Namshar, he did this exact opening on this map. No, I think it was Cosmic Sapphire versus Namshar. He chronoed 2 Adepts, went for double chrono on the Oracles as well. So it's basically just heavy pressure on the Zerg. And then he went straight into a 3rd base and went for like a big Warp Prism charge Archon. I know this because I copied this build for about a month. I really enjoyed it. It was a really good Zealot Archon timing while you take a 4th base behind it off 6 gates. We'll see if he opts for that. First chrono should land on that Stargate right away. Zerglings are going to come in. Nice move by Scarlett. I like that she's getting a confirmation scout. But double Adept's going to be a bit of a nuisance here. Good focus fire, though. She focuses the red hit point Adept first. It goes down. And she's not even going to lose a single drone. As I say, that, of course, Neeb focus fires in the midst of it. Looks like the 2 Zerglings at home went down, but they got a probe kill. So I think Scarlett's come out way better from the initial stage. And the Oracle's going to go across the map. If she actually made a lot of Zerglings here, she'd be able to potentially cancel the 3rd. But Neeb feels he's got her in a defensive stance, and he wants to just keep the pressure on. So he's going to rely on the 2nd Oracle to defend that 3rd base. And Queens, well defended. Already, this is looking like a much better start for Scarlett. She's got the Spore Crawler in the natural. Apologies for the camera movements lately, guys. Sorry, I've been playing a lot and grinding and getting excited. And I've also been casting a lot of WTL where I can't control the camera, where I think I'm getting a little bit antsy, like pro player observing, where it's a little bit quick on the camera movement. It's going to try and stop being quite so dizzying for all of you viewers out there who aren't used to the camera just panning around at crazy speed. Oh, her defense is so good. Oh my god, she lost 1 drone, 1 or 2 drones. Yeah, it was only 1 drone, and she got an Oracle kill for it. Oh, this opening nowhere near as good for Neeb. He's making a Stalker now, which he can use to clean up the Overlord. He's going to have to bring back the Oracle to spot that. Twilight Robo should be going down in a moment, but he's already got a 3rd gate. Is he doing a gateway all-in? Are we going to see 3 more gateways in the main right now? If we were seeing that, surely he'd be going sentries. Neeb is trying to hide what he's doing. What are you up to? Neeb's doing a naughty build. I don't know what this naughty build is, but he's making Stalkers non-stop of 3 gates. I think he's going to just play Blink, but I think what he wants to do is go with 3 Oracles and about 6, 7 Stalkers, cancel her 4th base, and then pull back into the tech afterwards. She, however, is going Overlord speed. I think she might be planning a mass Roach Ravager Ling Queen Drop attack. Of course, the Queen Drop can deal with the Oracles. The mass Roach Ravager can overwhelm everything else, so he's planning for a much longer game. You know, I'll cancel her 4th. She's not even thinking about a 4th. She's massing Roaches. He's going to find that out in a moment. Oh, what? You don't actually have a 4th base? And he's going to have to keep on warping in units at home. The question is, does he realize that this actually means she's going to be planning her own aggression? She's already got 2 Dropper Lords waiting. She's going to send those Queens across the map. Stalkers and Oracles coming forwards as well, seeing what they can do. That's 7 Stalkers. Queens coming up. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Queens! Roaches, Ravagers, and Zerglings trying to move forward. Stasis Trap pressure coming in for Neeb, but he should absolutely be going home to defend. Scarlett does get distracted by this. I almost feel like she should just disrespect it and go home, or go across the map, sorry, rather than trying to defend here. And she is indeed doing that with the Queens. The Roach Ravager Ling will follow. She's got to be careful with those Queens. Don't lose these Queen drops. Scarlett! Ah! Okay, she's going to just unload, drop the creeps so that they can do the transfuses as well. The Oracles are already pretty much useless. Battery Overcharge got activated way too early. I think Neeb panicked a little bit. He's blindsided by this maneuver. And finally, Scarlett got a good start, and it looks like she's just going to roll over him. And I told you there's a mini game in the early game of ZvP with how the openings go and who gets more damage and who gets ahead. And this time around, Scarlett won it, and she is surprising him with the follow-up. His cannon battery getting biled down. He's got almost no battery energy left. The Roach Ravager Ling just absolutely astounding amount of damage and overwhelming it. Oh, that's a big amount of damage. He just doesn't have the Stalker damage. The Zerglings are reinforcing as quick as the Stalkers can kill them. So he's never getting through her line of Ravager Queen where the real damage is being dealt, especially the Ravagers. Oh, that's a lot of Stalkers, though. She's got to get some more damage. She's got to move in right now and start spreading biles, probably across this Stalker line. She does depower the 3 gateways at the top. A good pullback for her. She's thinking about droning behind this. I think she needs to just go all in on Zerglings for now. Get more damage done before you think about the transition. 15 probes have gone down. That gives her a 10 worker advantage, which means she can transition from here. Oh, that was a slow warp in. She killed all the pylons that were next to the Nexus. That pylon was too far away. He was slow warping in Stalkers. Mortlings rallied in, and Scarlett not going to go down into that good night without a fight. She's not going to let the lights just turn off. She gets a point on the board. All right, guys, going into game 4. Another giant map here. Neeb going to be very happy to play a big defensive macro game, I would imagine. Top left to Cosmic Sapphire, representing Onside Gaming. And he's going to be going for that early pylon block again. Scarlett, she's got, if I were her, I'd be like, are you serious? Can you just one game let me get that hatchery, please? I don't think she's super surprised yet. Just continues onto the third base. She'll probably go 17 hatch. I don't think she'll build another drone. Yeah, no, 17 hatch is perfect here. It's only about 4 or 5 seconds later than if she went 16 hatch on the natural. So it's not a massive delay on the Queen and the Zerglings. But we'll definitely see how it goes. Probe coming on forward. You know, we were just discussing different games to cast for, you know, fun content during my best game streams. I'm discussing how people saying, hey, cast old games. Unfortunately, before, I don't know when the patch was it 2017? There was a patch which changed the underlying architecture of how the game worked and the replays, broke all of the map hacks and different cheats and abuses that were out there. And unfortunately, that meant that all old replays were going to be never viewable again, which is why you can only really view old games through content that's up on YouTube or some other video platform. It's impossible to actually get in there and watch any replay before a certain year, which is kind of a bummer because I did have thousands of replays saved over the years that I wish I could go back and kind of pour through the replays, but just simply is the way it is, unfortunately. Yeah, if anyone remembers what year that is, watching live right now, please let me know. I'm really curious. Probes being annoying. Now, I think the big question here, Scarlett's going to do the same opening, pretty much standard. She'll start pulling off gas now as she gets 100 gas, pulls 2 off gas. Actually, she pulls all 3 off. Very nice. The question for me is, what does Neeb do? And it looks like Neeb's going to do the same as the last game. Straight into Stargate. We know that because the Warp Gate's not spinning. Scarlett knows it as well. And he's going to chrono 1 adept, which means I think he's going to chrono 2 adepts. I think after that last game, he's like, okay, well, that opening just massively screwed up. No second adept, though. He's going for a pylon. Oh, that's why he was a little broke there for a second. Do we see a chrono? So he is going to chrono 2 adepts across this map, and he's going to try and block her third. She only built 2 lings. Oh, this is why you have to build 4 lings. You can't only build 2 lings. She saw a chrono on the adept, so she should have started more Zerglings the moment she saw the gateway was being chrono boosted. A huge mistake from Scarlett to not react to that. And now she is blocked from taking a third base for at least a little bit. That's very frustrating. She could grab a drone and take that third base, but that's a disastrous position to be in. You don't want to be expanding that far out this early. And Neeb, what a great position. Because now, by the time if she walks a queen off creep, an Oracle could fly in as the Queens are still off creep, chasing the Adepts away. And look at this, the double Adepts are going to shade in. Oh, Neeb with a very nice opening, taking advantage of her greedy start. We talked about how earlier on he went for the pylon block to get her to build more Zerglings. This time, he went for the pylon block, but actually committed to 2 pylons, gets 3 drones and a bunch of Zerglings. Oh, a great start for Neeb. And Neeb is outclassing Scarlett in the early game. He really is. Scarlett is going to need to knuckle down and play excellently to get back from here, but I must give props to Neeb. He realized she was being greedy every game. He took advantage of it. The Oracle's going to save that. Adept doesn't even need to turn on its laser. Scarlett knows what's coming, runs away. Third base is on the way there as well. And look at the work account for Neeb. Watch him drop the next tech. Oh, he's going to go second gate. Okay, that's second gate, of course. And Adept, nice wedge there in between the pylon and the gas geyser. Oracle's looking for these drones. Drones. Ooh, lucky, lucky, lucky drones sneaking on by. Oracle doesn't see him. Up to 4 gases behind it. A sweet opening for the Sunderhaft. For those who don't know, Alex Sunderhaft is Neeb's name. Sasha. Oh my god, I've forgotten Scarlett's last name right now. We're just going to go with Sasha Big Brain Zerg. Oracle gets 2 drone kills. Hostin, that's it. 2 drones, not that big. That was a good follow-up defense. She's going quick melee this game. She's just got to make sure she defends these next few waves all right. Now look at that, guys. Wait. 3 gateways before Twilight Forge. Is he going to try the same Stalker Oracle pressure on the 4th base? Ooh, he's warping in Stalkers. Neeb's thinking about doing some fancy stuff. For those who don't know the lore of Neeb, he grew up wanting to be an engineer because his friends called him the Thundershaft. Some would say that sounds like utter nonsense. No, seriously, Google it. It made no sense when Fear Dragon told us this, but it's a thing we know now. It still explains nothing. But anyways, Sporkrill is going to push back the Oracles. They get 1 or 2 drones there, and then they do pull back. 4th base on the far left side is started up. Oracles just going to pull on back. We've got 6 Stalkers into 3 Oracles coming across the map. Scarlett loses her 4th. It really hurts her in this game. I'd like to see her move out and take a 5th. She's already preparing for it. I remember I was really focused when I was learning this heavy Ling style and taking that 5th base early. Scarlett initially said it wasn't necessary, but I think moves like this have made her decide more often than not it's better to give up this base, backstab with Mass Zergling, and then just have the new base over on the right side that you can rely on. Maybe drop a macro hatch as well. Because the problem is the moment those Oracles turn on those lasers, your Lings have to disengage. And that allows the Stalkers to focus on the hatchery. But Queens come forward. Scarlett keeps it alive. Great move for her. And guys, it's a 50-50 build. She's on 53 drones. She's making about 50 Zerglings. Can she get damage done with it? I think Neeb should be wary of this Mass Ling move. She should be able to get a cancel on the 4th and then drone up behind that. I think that's a good way to do it. She's also swapping into range upgrades, which means she's not going to double down on just a Zergling play or anything like that. Lings get a cancel on the 4th. That's very important. Great value there for Scarlett. Now the Oracles are going to see more Lings trying to sneak across the map. Sneaky Zerglings should tip Neeb off to the fact that he should pull back and defend with these Oracles rather than being offensive. Scarlett's not droning. Oh, she is, but she's late. I feel like she could have got these drones out. She's got 54 Zerglings. She's definitely got to get over there and keep the aggression on. She can't just be sitting at home. I want to see her attack the natural with about 10, 12 Zerglings to force warp-ins and try to break this top right side. But with 5 gateways available, 2 Oracles on the defense, feels like Neeb is well set up. Stasis Trap only catches 4 drones. Not too big of a pick-off. And the hatchery in the far bottom left side. 5th hatchery on the way. Double gas going up on the 4th base. Neeb's getting set up, and I think Scarlett's giving him just a little bit too easy of a time of it. She's at 72 workers. She is still massing Lings, but I want to see her up that activity rate and get in his face. I think Neeb, we've seen him fall to well-timed aggression like most Protoss do, but once he gets up on 4 bases with wall-offs and cannons and batteries, the difficulty just curves upwards at a very savage rate. Scarlett, though, playing good style. She's going to try and take down that Adept. 2 Zerglings attacking it at a time. He's going to quickly wall off just in time. That'll give her a bit more surface area to work with, and she comes back on the right side as well. Great moves by Scarlett. I'd like to see those Lings go back in a moment as well. She's pulled him out of position. The Oracles are going to chase her off, though. They saved a lot of energy, and that saves the Nexus. Great play there by Neeb. He's going to come in with another Stasis Trap, keeping her busy on the back foot as well. She's trying to build 15 more drones. Oh, it's a little late to be going up to 90 workers. I feel like that's a big economy, which is cool, but it's so late in the game that I'm scared it gives up momentum. On the other hand, if you have a gold base fully saturated, I think you're going to be the one with all the momentum. I might be doubting Scarlett when she's actually doing a great job with these Zerglings. The Oracles waste yet more energy. She grabs like 4 or 5 probes, make it 6, make it 7. I think that's worth trading quite a lot of Zerglings there. The Oracles do crazy damage when they're allowed to stand and shoot, but probes are way more valuable than Zerglings, 2 to 1, of course. And that is going to be a very fascinating scenario. The Oracle there. 87 workers versus 79. Wow. 4 Archons, 9 Stalkers, a pack of Zealots coming forward. We got 2 Oracles as well, marching on forwards. +2 melee, Bane speed, Roach speed, all on the way. We'll see what's happening. Oh, man. This is going to be a big, scary army once the Archon count grows. Ravager Bane's not the best of that. I'd like to see Scarlett. She's so rich. I want to see her smashing into the natural. I don't want to see her fight front on. I want to see her butchering his economy and doing it soon, because the more cannons and batteries that get up, which he's building everywhere, the less her chance of hitting his economy. It just disappears, and she's stagnating on tech while he's advancing. I like the way he pushed forward. He scared her. He forced her to group up her army, made her, and he just pulled home, makes Storm, makes more cannons. He knows that his army's getting better with time. Every Archon, every High Templar with Storm he warps in is really good for him. Scarlett is maxed on Ravager Bane, and she wants him to push into her, but he's not. And if he realizes that she doesn't have a hive, he won't feel any pressure. Like, if I were him, I'd just tag the main base. Be like, oh, you're on lair? I just camp. I have no pressure on me to attack you right now because I have the better army in the long run. And a mass Baneling run by on the left side, which I think has been foreshadowed she showed it a bit too early, so she should probably pull those banelings back. Good choice by her, but he's going to be able to counterattack her now. She doesn't have any mobile anti-air other than Queens, so, I mean, calling Queens mobile anti-air is a bit of a stretch. So it's going to be hard for her to defend all those angles at once. The Oracle's going to take out a few Banes and Roaches. Banes are going to find the mineral line. Very quick evacuation there. It's going to just cool on down the Archon Storm. She's got to get out of there. Psystorm, Archon coming in. She's got to make sure these units rally to the bottom left side. Don't want to go through his army. Stasis Trap coming in as well. I don't think that's even in range of the drones, actually. Bit of a misclick there. The game pace is really speeding up. Massling in the top right. Massling, Baneling. If she can get in, that could be good. She's just got to be careful she doesn't get trapped. The Stasis Trap actually got a lot of the workers there. Nicely done. She clumped them up accidentally. Roach Baneling still trying to siege the bottom left side and the top right. But there's too much Storm. Get out of there, Scarlett. Run. Great pullback by Scarlett. She's putting the pressure on. Baneling's going to breach the natural. Oh, but there's a cannon and a stalker, and she's managing fights in so many places, it's hard to keep it up. Still a Warp Prism on the right side. And remember, Neeb is max now on Archon Storm, and she's still on Ravager Bane. If she teched her Lurkers, I think this would be acceptable, but she didn't tech up. No Lurkers on the field, no Broodlords, and she doesn't have any damage on his economy. Oh no, Neeb has survived the most important 2 minutes of the game. And now Scarlett is fighting into a very losing compositional situation. Ravager Bane is amazing at defending medium-sized armies, but as they get mass Archon, they sponge up about 1 billion Banelings. There's Psystorm behind it, making this very hard for her to jump on. Nice flank from her, but the Banelings derp out a little bit with the pathing. She doesn't have enough Roaches to overwhelm, I don't think. Maybe she does. Maybe she does. Warp Prism in the main. Gonna try to warp in Zealots, but there's mass Zerglings with +2 melee already on top of it. Unfortunately, some of them not aggroing onto it. They finally do so. Back at the top, 2 Stalkers ended up cleaning the last Roaches. Scarlett ends up holding and actually getting a pretty good series of fights. I thought he was about to break her, but apparently she's made of sterner stuff. The Oracles, how are they still alive? They both have 15 kills. They're even grabbing drones over here. He's keeping her defensive while trying to go Stargate, but his gas count is low. But he's got the rich gas. Double gas mining on that rich gas. She has the gold base, though. So she's got a ton of minerals. She's going Hive now. Oracle in the main comes in. And the Oracles are gone. Or at least that one is. Though those two are still alive. 31 kills between them. Mass High Templar here. Oh, she's dreaming of Banelings finding the juicy center of those High Templar. Oh, that would be so good. If she could get a bunch of Banes in the middle of that, my God, it would be the wet dream of all Zerg wet dreams. I just don't think Neeb's going to let it happen. He's got a good guard of Archon Immortal to protect from that. Carriers are coming out, and it's hard for her because the ground army posits a very real threat compositionally, where it feels like Scarlett needs to make Lurkers or Broods to deal with it, but Carriers are already hitting the field, and with Carriers hitting the field, obviously Lurkers and Broods don't shoot up. So she is simply behind the curve on the tech and in a difficult position where she's going to need to get more done with a basic comp. I love this spine positioning, by the way. You'll notice the Zealots get kind of stuck behind each other if they all just attack it. But Neeb's got good focus fire. He targets the drones. And it looks like the Zealots will clean that up as well. +2 attack on these Zealots. More carriers on the way. Roach Baneling coming in. Drones going to the bottom left side of the map as well. Ooh, okay. All the Zealots do get cleaned up. She doesn't lose too many workers. +2 air attack on the way, a very important upgrade. Neeb not missing a beat. Feels like he's got her pinned back, and his 5th is established, and that's all he really needed to do for this stage of the game. With the 5th base established, he can just move on around, slow her down, and she's got to make a very quick decision as to what her next step is. And right now, it's +3 melee adrenal glands. I think she's just hoping they're stuck on ground versus ground, and when she sees these first carriers, her heart will sink. Her heart is absolutely going to sink because you don't got stuff that shoot up. And when you don't got stuff that shoot up, the stuff that's flying, it shoot down. Your things not shoot up, they shoot down. That is conundrum. And if that StarCraft commentary there is not what you would call easy to understand. I don't know, guys. I've been working on my noob-friendly commentary. I hope you can let me know in the comments how you rate it. Good, bad, needs more work in progress. I don't know. I'm trying to work on it. 35 Roaches on the map. Those are not good units, guys. Oh, no. Run, Scarlett. Get out. Get out. Oh, no. Oh, God. I'm sorry. I don't know how to commentate that other than make pain noises. I feel my Zerg soul dies inside watching that. She got caught out. Didn't realize her army had moved so far forward. Was clearly caught off guard. And without the Banelings landing big kicks, it's a big issue. The Lings going after the Stalkers and the Probes. The Roaches doing what they can, but they just can't deal with this army, especially with the carriers overhead. Neeb has just shown us masterclass ZvP. the way he played his openings in this series, especially, I feel like just got him such momentum from the start. And it's the joy of playing ZvP versus Neeb is there's great technicality and precision in every stage of the game, but he also adds tricky, hard to deal with openings on top of that, and it makes it ridiculously hard to handle. Neeb here, for those who don't know, is going to be going away from full-time competing, and I believe going back to school to study and just competing part-time in the near future. And when he first announced that, he basically were like, oh no, we're going to see the end of Neeb, and yet he's just gotten better and better in his last months of full-time play, and I believe he's back studying now. If anyone has any updates on that, let me know. I'll give you guys an update in the next Neeb video, but I just feel like there's something that switched on in his play where he has gotten better than ever, and that was a perfect example. GG, well played for the Thundershaft Neeb.